What's up, everybody? CHM Carnivorous here. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Now, today I want to highlight a very special plant. This is one that's been newly acquired by me. It is by no means new to the hobby. I will say, though, it is extremely rare. When it was first released, it was exceedingly rare. Only about 30 of them were put out on the first release. So very, very rare, but they have become more widely available, and I'm going to show you where you can get one for yourself, and I'm going to explain why I think this is a great plant for all growers to have, no matter your conditions, no matter what you have, whether you're in a small apartment or if you're in a home that has a lot of room, or if you even have a place for a greenhouse or a grow tent. This plant will be a perfect plant for you. Stick around. So, if you follow my channel, you know that I like Nepenthes that produce very large pitchers, as that a lot of people do. But in this case, I want to go completely to the other side of the spectrum and talk about a plant that probably produces some of the smallest pitchers, if not the smallest pitchers, in the Nepenthes world. You'd be hard pressed to find one that produces smaller ones. And so today what I'm going to talk about is Nepenthes glabrata by aristolochioides. Now, glabrata in itself produces extremely tiny pitchers, some of the smallest in all of Nepenthes, and aristolochioides does not produce very large pitchers either. Both plants are diminutive and they grow very small, compact plants that are great. Now, the catch is aristolochioides can be exceedingly expensive. I think Carnivorous is selling one right now at a reasonable price of about, I think it's like $150, $200. But for the most part, they are exceedingly expensive. Glabrata, much more affordable, but it can be a tough plant to grow. The cool thing about this hybrid is that you get the best of both worlds, and you can be able to grow this plant in a wide range of conditions and temperatures and humidities. And here's the cool part: you can grow them in something as small as a terrarium or an aquarium, all the way up into a large grow tent, and they will do just fine. So without further ado, let's turn the camera around and let's take a look at this beautiful plant. All right, everybody. So this is a cutting that I got from Todd's Tropicals on eBay. Now, if you know and follow my channel, you know I get a lot of cuttings, a lot of plants from Todd, very reputable grower. And so I wanted to try something different, and I went to, again, like I said, complete opposite side of the spectrum with this plant. Now, this is a fairly good size cutting. Yes, good size, even though it's small. And what's really cool, striking about this plant right from the beginning are its traps. If I can even get it to focus. Now, that trap is probably no more than the size of a penny, and they don't get much larger than that. They will probably get, let me see if I can zoom in. They will probably get up to 1.5 inches, 2 inches at most. Absolutely darling and fun to grow. Now, what's really cool about this plant is they will get very long tendrils, as all, glabrata and aristolochioides will get. So it takes on both of those traits in its parentage. It grows very compact, but also very bushy, and will produce a lot of growth points. What's really cool about this plant also is it can handle a wide range of conditions, and we'll talk about that now. So I thought I'd give you a different angle of the plant and just give you a look around. I have this plant growing in my greenhouse at 75 degrees to 85 degrees with a humidity range from about 60 to 75, depending on the day and when I water and so on and so forth. This plant loves any kind of conditions. Very, very easy growing. I shouldn't say any kind of conditions, but it is a hybrid that will be able to handle temperatures all the way through the intermediates, and can handle even some lowland temperatures for a little bit of time. Very, very easy going. What's exceptionally cool about this is I get a lot of people asking how you can grow Nepenthes in a terrarium type setting. Well, this plant right here is perfect for that. So it will get, this is just about a large specimen. Obviously it'll continue to grow and will continue to vine if you let it, but it will take some time, and it will stay this compact size for quite a while. And so that makes it ideal for people who have limited space to be able to grow these plants. Not everybody can grow these large plants that are going to get massive, right? So if you have limited space, this is a great one for that. So let's talk about feeding this little thing. Now, normally with my plants, I feed them Osmocote pellets and they do just fine. But if I was to try to do this with this plant with these tiny little traps, it would completely obliterate them in no time. So what you can do is you can use betta fish pellets or even small fish flakes if you break them up. And they will do just fine for you. So you know I don't make a whole lot of videos highlighting just specific plants, and it's probably something I'm probably going to try to do more of in the future. But I really feel like this one deserves a special call out just because of the versatility of it and the uniqueness of it. Most Nepenthes, like I said earlier, will go out of hand and get out of control, and this makes it very difficult for a lot of people to grow them. In this case, this one will grow very compact for you for a very long time, and it's easy to take cuttings from and produce more. This is a perfect plant for a terrarium type situation or a windowsill, as long as you can give it humidity, and it'll do just great. The other really cool thing about this, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is I cannot stress how rare this plant, this hybrid is. It's not as rare as it used to be, admittedly, as growers have caught on to how cool this plant is. They've started making their own, but when it was first released, there was extremely low quantity. I think only 30, if I'm not mistaken, that were produced. And so to be able to own this plant is very cool, and the cost is very reasonable. When you look at the different costs of like an aristolochioides, which will cost you a couple hundred, I believe this one goes for about $30 or $40 for a pretty good size cutting. I highly recommend this plant for anybody looking to grow. Now let's talk about the skill level you'll need to grow it. So I will leave you with this. This glabrata by aristolochioides is a great hybrid for any skill level. Now there are some requirements that you need to give it. It does need humidity. With traps this small, it will dry out very fast. Now you can accomplish this by, if you have it in a terrarium, just have it sitting out of the water, obviously, but have that ambient humidity around them, and this will do just fine. You can have a humidifier near it, or you can grow it in a grow tent just like this, or a greenhouse. It'll do just fine. I have found this plant to need very little fuss, and it does just fine. I actually just set it and forget it, put it over there, and it's growing just fine. Now Todd, after I talked with him, he said it is a very vigorous grower and does not require a lot of care all through the stages of his life. I would recommend this plant for any skill level of a grower, and I know that can seem kind of strange, especially when you're talking about an Aristo hybrid, but I do feel like this one has that uniqueness and the ability of its ease of growth, as long as you give it specific care. And again, the price, you can't beat it. Now normally, like I said at the beginning of the video, I like huge, massive pictures, but I will tell you that this has quickly become one of my top 3 favorite plants, just because of its uniqueness, its cuteness, and just amazingly how well it keeps the aristolochioides shape, but on a very small level because of that glabrata. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about this hybrid or any of the hybrids that I grow, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I am always here to help, and the best thing I want to do is to help you succeed in growing these plants. As always, I hope that you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.